الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. Whenever we hear of a disaster or a turmoil or a problem or even war in some part of the world or in any place, or even when we see some calamities, some difficulties that are happening somewhere around the world, many people will associate that with the reappearance of the Imam, Imam al-Hujjat al-Muntadhar, may Allah hasten his reappearance. Because when we go back to the ahadith of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal as-salati was-salam, we will find that the Imams have mentioned many signs of reappearance. They tell us that if such happens, then this is a sign that the reappearance of the Imam will be near. If such event happens, then the reappearance of the Imam will be near. And you realize that this specific topic brings a lot of interest to people. A lot of people will be interested in a topic like that. But it is also a very controversial topic at the same time. Why? Because you will see many people who will try to apply the ahadith based on the events that they are seeing, based on the affairs that are happening in their time. Now, from one side, caring about the signs of the reappearance is good. I mean, the fact that we are concerned about the signs of the reappearance of the Imam, that shows that we are actually thinking about Imam Mahdi ajallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. That we are actually thinking about him. We're concerned. We want to know when he will reappear. So from one side, this is good. Number two, it will help us prepare ourselves. If we notice there's a sign, we will be preparing ourselves even more. It will act as a motive to prepare ourselves for the reappearance of the Imam ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. And that is something that is good in one way. But unfortunately, we notice that there is an imbalance with regards to these topics. Out of all the topics that concerns Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman ajallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, you realize that most people care only about the signs of the reappearance of our Imam ajallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, and they tend to neglect or abandon all the other topics about Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Even though many of the other topics that are neglected or abandoned are actually more important than the topic of the signs of the reappearance of the Imam. With regards to the life history of the Imam, with regards to his minor, his major occultation, with regards to the benefit of the Imam in Ghaiba, the role of the Imam in Ghaiba, what are our obligations and duties to Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, what should we do to prepare for that time? How can we become true, faithful servants, helpers and supporters of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman? What are the teachings of Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman? What does he expect from us? What should we do? How do we actively await for Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman? All these topics are related to the Imam of the time. And all these topics are very, very important. They're actually more important than the topic of the signs of the reappearance of the Imam ajallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. Now, nonetheless, this topic is also an important topic because it has been mentioned in the narrations, in the ahadith of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal as-salati was-salam, and everything that they mention in their words is of importance. So inshallah, tonight we will look into the topic of the signs of the reappearance of the Imam, and we will touch upon 3 points. The first point is what are the different types of the signs of the reappearance of Imam Sahib al-Asri was Zaman according to the ahadith of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal salati was salam. Number 2, can bada actually happens with regards to the signs of the reappearance? Meaning, can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all of a sudden changes his plan and erase these signs, even if none of these signs happen? Imam Ajallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif will reappear even without any of these signs. Can Allah change his plan? Number 3, we will discuss 5 of the definite signs of the reappearance of the Imam, and inshallah we will discuss them all after hearing aloud Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, what are the 4 different types of the signs of reappearance of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman? The first type are the natural signs, the signs of nature that usually happen, for example, in the sky. There are ahadith that state, for example, that in 1 month, there will be a lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse happening in the middle of the month, and a lunar eclipse that will happen towards the end of that month. In 1 month, a solar and a lunar eclipse will happen, one in the middle and one towards the end. In all of the eclipses that have occurred in various months, we didn't have 1 month where 2 eclipses would happen, one solar eclipse in the middle or one lunar eclipse at the end, both of them in the same month in this specific order. So it would not happen in history, but only in that specific month. And that is a natural sign that is mentioned in some of the ahadith. Another natural sign that can be mentioned is that there will be some heavy rain in certain parts of the world. Rain that they have never seen before, the amount of rain. It's so heavy that they've never seen before. Also, the ahadith tells us of, for example, the sun will rise from the west instead of it rising from the east. Every day you wake up in the morning and you notice that the sun rises from the east and it sets in the west. One day the sun will rise from the west and it will set in the east. Such a big event that will catch the attention of people, and that's the point of the sign, that it is an event that will catch the attention of people. So people will be wondering what has happened, and this is a big sign that is telling us of a more important event that will come after it, which is the reappearance of the Imam Sahib al-Asri was Zaman. So Allah wants to tell us that there's something huge that's going to be there. So that's why the sign is there to catch one's attention. That's one type of signs. These are the natural signs. There is another type of signs that will happen in the period preceding the appearance of the Imam Ajallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. In the hadith, it mentions that the period that precedes the reappearance of the Imam will be a period of much difficulty. There will be much destruction going around all around the world. So there will be time of difficulty and time of destruction all around the world. In one hadith, our 6th Imam, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he applies one verse of the Quran with regards to this sign. He said that Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 155, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرْ الصَّابِرِينَ. And we will most certainly try you with somewhat of fear, hunger, loss of property, loss of lives, and fruits, and give good news to the patient ones. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he said that all this will happen in the period preceding the reappearance of Imam Sahib al-Asri was Zaman. In other ahadith, there are other ahadith that even supports this hadith, that mentions that 2/3 of the world will be wiped out due to wars and battles and killing and assassinations and violence, and also due to diseases and pandemics and things like that. 2/3 of the world will be wiped out. Imagine 2/3 of the population of this globe will be gone due to violence and due to sickness and disease and pandemics. So there will be fear, there will be loss of property, there will be loss of wealth, there will be loss of lives in the period preceding the time of the reappearance of the Imam. The third type is there are ahadith that speaks about immorality and corruption that will spread all around the globe. And it will spread where? Before the reappearance of the Imam. It will spread in a way that humanity did not know of before. Immorality will conquer human beings. Basically, human beings will lose their moral system. In a narration by our sixth Imam, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he talks about that time. He says, وَرَأَيْتُ طَالِبَ الْحَلَالِ يُذَمْ وَيُعَيَّرْ وَطَالِبُ الْحَرَامِ يُمْدَحُ وَيُعَظَّمْ. And I see the seeker of halal, the seeker of lawful wealth, lawful earning, one who wants to earn his wealth in halal. I see the seeker of halal slandered and criticized. And the seeker of haram, those who seek unlawful earning, those who seek unlawful wealth, they are being praised and glorified. Amongst the signs of Akhir al-Zaman, the time before the period of the Imam, the moral system will be completely upside down. Instead of praising the one who tries to seek halal, he's the one who is criticized and slandered. And instead of criticizing the one who seeks haram, he is the one who is praised and glorified. And we see this in a famous hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, where he would say, كيف بكم إذا فسد نساؤكم وفسق شبانكم. What would you do if your woman become corrupt and your youth become deviated? وَلَمْ تَأْمُرُوا بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَلَمْ تَنْهَوْا عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. And you would not enjoin good and you would not forbid evil. The companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time, they were surprised. They were astonished. They said, Ya Rasulullah, and this will actually happen? There will come a time where our woman will be corrupt and our children will deviate and we will do nothing about it? We will not enjoin good, we will not forbid evil, we will not remind them? Rasulullah said, Na'am wa sharrum min dhalik. Yes, and it will even get worse. What's worse, Ya Rasulullah? He said, كيف بكم إذا أمرتم بالمنكر ونهيتم عن المعروف. What will you do when people will enjoin the wrong, when they enjoin the evil, when they enjoin bad, and they forbid the truth, they forbid good, they forbid what is right? They became even more astonished. They said, Ya Rasulullah, and this will actually happen? He said, Na'am wa sharrum min dhalik. Yes, it will even get worse than this. كيف بكم إذا رأيتم المعروف منكرا والمنكر معروفا. What will you do when people will consider what is right as wrong and what is wrong as right? They will consider the truth evil and the evil the truth. They will consider what's good bad and what is bad is considered good. Everything will go upside down. The moral system will go the other way around. And I am sure you're noticing that happening nowadays. How many times do you see in the society that what is evil is now being considered good? And what's worse than that is that you even notice it in our communities. Many times, people will find the truth as something boring, something backward, something wrong. And haram is something forward going, something that is good. Didn't you notice it in our communities? Rasulullah is speaking of that time where corruption will spread all around the world. And I'm sure you're seeing it nowadays clearly. The fourth type of signs for the reappearance of the Imam are the 5 definite signs for the Imam's reappearance. Certain important figures, good and evil ones, they will rise before the appearance, and we will speak about it shortly. But let us look into this point before discussing the 5 definite definite signs of reappearance. The question is, can bada happens to all these signs? Meaning, can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all of a sudden changes the plan and, for example, makes the Imam reappear without any of these signs happening? Can he erase basically the sign? Or the sign doesn't happen? There are signs that are definite, that are unchangeable, that will happen for sure, that no bada will happen to it. And there are signs that are indefinite, meaning it is possible that it will change. It is possible that it may or may not happen. There is an example for that. There is, in one of the signs of the reappearance of the Imam, it says that the government of Bani al-Abbas will be destroyed and destructed by a Sufyani, right before the reappearance of the Imam. Now we know that the government of Bani al-Abbas, the dynasty of Bani al-Abbas, was destroyed how many years ago? About 100 years ago. 800 years ago. About 800 years ago. It's before the Ottoman Empire. And the Sufyani wasn't there. The Sufyani will reappear close to the time of the Imam. So, that sign happened, but it happened 800 years ago. Now, some ulama, they say no, that Bani al-Abbas will rule twice. They ruled once, and their dynasty has ended, and they will rule again, and the Sufyani will demolish and destruct their dynasty and empire. But there are signs that are indefinite, that might be changeable. Now, most of the signs of the reappearance of the Imam, they may or may not happen. They can change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change His plan. However, there are 5 definite signs. Those signs will definitely happen before the reappearance of the Imam. What are these 5 signs? We will discuss them inshallah after hearing aloud salawat. The first of these definite signs is the rise of the Sufyani. The Sufyani will rise and have power in Sham. Sham is an area that covers 4 countries: Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Palestine. These 4 countries, this is the area that is known as Ash-Sham. It was known before as Sham, and even now they're known as Biladu Sham, the countries of Sham, the Levant countries. The rise of the Sufyani is the most mentioned sign in the ahadith of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal salatu wasalam. There is so much about him. His rise will be in Sham. He is a vicious, cruel, inhumane man who is nasibi, who hates the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and hates the followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal salatu wasalam. His main task is to kill the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. He took it upon himself to hunt the Shias wherever he may be able to find them and kill them. The hadith tells us that he is known as As-Sufyani because he is from the descendants of Abu Sufyan. From the descendants of Abu Sufyan. So he's known as As-Sufyani. There will be a civil war in the area. In the area of Sham, there will be a civil war. He will be one of the factions that are fighting. And then he will prevail over the other factions. And he will come into power. And he will rule the lands of Sham. It is narrated that Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam said, As-Sufyani min al-Mahtum. Sufyani, or the rise of the Sufyani, is from the definite signs. وَخُرُوجُهُ فِي رَجَبٍ. His rise will be in the month of Rajab. وَمِنْ أَوَّلِ خُرُوجِهِ إِلَى آخِرِهِ 15 شهرا. The beginning of his rise till the end of his rise is how many? 15 months. 15 months. 6 أشهر يقاتل فيها. 6 months of them he will fight in it. فإذا ملك الكور الخمس ملك 9 أشهر ولم يزد عليها يوما. If he will control the 5 areas which are in Sham, he will rule for 9 months and not a day more. So the riwayah says what? That the whole period of a Sufyani is 15 months. 6 months he will be fighting. 9 months he will rule. In some narrations it says that the time that he will rule is just like the time a baby will be in the womb of his mother. Yani 9 months, basically. In this riwayah the Imam says, and not a day more. Yani only 9 months he would rule, not more than that. So basically all of his fight and his rise to power and his rule is a year and 3 months. Basically, a year and 3 months, 15 months. Then his army will be swallowed in an area, in a desert, by earth, in an area in between Mecca and Medina. Sufyani will hear of the rise of Imam al-Mahdi Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif. So he will send an army to fight Imam al-Mahdi Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif. And once they reach the desert, an area in between Mecca and Medina, the earth will swallow. There will be al-khasf bil-bayda. The earth will swallow them, basically. And the whole army will die. And his rule will end. That's how the rule will end. Yes? In the ahadith, it's only 15 months. And some that mention only 9 months. So if we want to combine between the ahadith, the 9 months is the 9 months in which he will rule. And the 15 months is the 6 months in which he will be fighting with the other factions till he will be able to get control and take over Sham. There are numerous ahadith that mention 9 months. And there is this hadith that mentions 15 months, which is the most that is there. So if we want to combine, the 9 months that they're mentioning is the 9 months in which he will rule. And the 6 months before that is the time that he will fight until he take over the area, the land, and he will prevail, and then he will rule in these 9 months. So all of the rise of Sufyani till its decline is only 15 months. And how will it finish? By another definite sign of the signs of the reappearance of the Imam, which is called Al-Khasf bil-Bayda. When the earth will swallow the army in the desert in between Mecca and Medina, this is another definite sign of the signs of the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi, Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. So there are two signs with regards to the Sufyani. One is his rise, and the second one is when his army is swallowed by the land. This is how his army will end. The reason why he will be in the areas between Mecca and Medina, because he will hear, or some news will reach him that the Imam is in Mecca. So he will send an army to fight the Imam, and the earth will swallow this army. So his army will die, and he will lose power at that time. The third sign of the third definite sign of the signs of the reappearance is the emergence of the Yamani. The emergence of Al-Yamani. Al-Yamani is the most guided leader to Al-Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. He will rise from the city of Sana'a in Yemen. Sana'a right now is the capital city of Yemen. The rise of the Yamani is from where? From Sana'a itself. From Sana'a, from Yemen. The Yamani, in the ahadith, it's said that he is his banner is the most guided banner. Meaning that he is a follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, and all the Imams till Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. So he will believe in all the 12 Imams. The most guided means he follows the truth. And in the riwayat it says that he also disowns and rejects the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So he follows the 12 Imams and he rejects the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal as-salati was-salam. Yani his aqidah is a proper aqidah where he has proper wilaya and a proper bara'a from the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal as-salati was-salam. In a narration by our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, he says, خروج السفياني واليماني والخراساني في سنة واحدة في شهر واحد في يوم واحد. And this narration is in the book of Al-Ghaiba by Shaykh al-Nu'mani. He narrates the hadith of Imam al-Baqir. He says the rise of the Sufyani, the rise of the Yamani, the rise of the Khurasani will be in 1 year, in 1 month, in 1 day. Meaning that they will all rise at the same time. When you see something new happening in Syria, keep an eye on Yemen. Is there something happening in Yemen? Because the rise of the Sufyani and the Yamani will be at the same time. In some riwayat, it says like kafarasay rihan. As if, when you're looking at horses racing, they're right next to each other. This is how they will emerge. The Yamani and the Khurasa and the Sufyani. They will be there at the same time, same year, same month, same day. So the rise is at a very, very close time to each other. And of course, it is the most guided. The Yamani is the most guided leader based on a narration by our Imams. One of the narrations is the narration of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, where he says, وَلَيْسَ فِي الرَّايَاتِ رَايَةٌ أَهْدَى مِنْ رَايَةِ الْيَمَانِ هِيَ رَايَةُ هُدَى لِأَنَّهُ يَدْعُو إِلَى صَاحِبِكُمْ. There is no banner from amongst the banners that is more guiding than the banner of Al-Yamani. It is a banner of guidance. Why is it a banner of guidance? The Imam says, because he calls to your companion, meaning Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. He does not call to himself, he calls to the Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. He will rise from Sana'a specifically. From Sana'a specifically. The city of Sana'a. Ubayd ibn Zurara, he narrates that the Sufyani was mentioned in front of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam al-Sadiq replied, أَنَّا يَخْرُجُ ذَلِكَ وَلَمْ يَخْرُجْ كَاسِرْ عَيْنَهُ بِصَنْعَاء. كاسر عينه بصنعاء. How will he rise, the Sufyani, and his eye breaker, meaning the Yamani, did not rise from Sana'a. Did not rise from Sana'a. Meaning the Imam, there was a tyrant ruler at that time who rose in Sham. People thought that he's the Sufyani. The Imam said, no, if he's the Sufyani, then the Yamani should appear. Since the Yamani is not there, then he is not the Sufyani. He's a tyrant, oppressive ruler, but he's not the Sufyani that is mentioned in the riwayat. So both the Yamani and the Sufyani must come at the same time. The Sufyani from Sham, the Yamani from Sana'a, from Yemen. And these narrations stress the fact that they will come out at the same time and not at two different times. And the rise is from Sana'a itself, not from any other city in Yemen. Yes. You will hear of two leaders coming up. Yes. They will appear they will appear. You will hear of them. That there is a leader by this name. He's calling himself Al-Yamani in Sana'a. There is a movement that is happening. The Sufyani, same thing. A movement that will happen, a new movement that will happen, and it will take 6 months for that movement to gain control. So you'll hear of civil war happening, factions fighting between themselves. Then within a period of 6 months, one of the factions will rule, and they will rule for only 9 months. While this war is happening, there is a movement happening in Yemen. That is why whenever we look at Syria, we have to look at Yemen at the same time. If there is something happening in Sana'a and something happening in Syria, then we might be able to make a connection. But remember, Al-Yamani is the most guided banner, meaning that he needs to have proper aqidah. He needs to believe in all the 12 Imams, from Amir al-Mu'mineen to Imam al-Mahdi Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif. And he needs to have an aqidah that is, basically he disowns or rejects the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. So that is why he is the most guided. Sometimes we see a charismatic leader appearing somewhere in Yemen and we're like, oh mashallah, very good. Let us not just call names just like that. If he's a charismatic leader, let us see. Is his aqidah proper? And is there something happening in Sham at the same time or no? So both these signs will come at the same time. Same year, same month, same day. This is how much the Imams have stressed upon that these both signs will happen at the same time. The fourth definite sign is what? The heavenly cry, as-sayha. A loud cry in the sky will be heard on the day of the 23rd of the month of Ramadan. The night of the 23rd is Laylatul Qadr. The day of the 23rd, Yawm al-Qadr. The day of the 23rd of the month of Ramadan, a loud cry will be heard. A loud heavenly cry. Basically, Jibreel alayhi salam, Angel Jibreel, he will shout in the sky with the name of the Imam, Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif. And in some narrations he would be saying, Ala inna al-haqqa fi Ali ibn Abi Talib wa shi'atah. The truth is with Ali ibn Abi Talib and his followers. And in some narrations it says that he will say, Ala inna al-haqqa fi Ali Muhammad. The truth is with Ali Muhammad alayhim afdal salati wassalam. So when this sign happens, the narration states that each and every person on this earth, in this earth, will hear the sign, will hear it, and will understand it in their own languages. In some narrations it said that even the one who is asleep will wake up and hear the call and will understand it in his own language. So it is not just a miracle, it's a miracle that each and every human being will understand in their own languages. And even those who are sleeping, they will wake up and hear it at that time. The 23rd day of the month of Ramadan, after Laylatul Qadr in the day. So he will make that call. Everyone will understand in their own language. Every human being will hear the voice of Jibreel. When the believers will hear that, they will be rejoicing. They will be happy. Why? Because they know that the reappearance is now near. The reappearance is now close. Just a few more months and inshallah the reappearance will happen. So all the believers will be rejoicing. The believers will be happy. The enemies will be in panic. It is said that many of the leaders of the enemies will hold some emergency meetings to discuss what should we do in such a situation. In Kamaluddin وتمام النعمة, this great book, some companions of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam asked the Imam that who will disbelieve in the Imam after hearing this miracle? Imagine hearing the heavenly cry from the sky. Jibreel will say it. Each and every person on this earth will understand it in their own language. And he clearly says the truth is with Ali ibn Abi Talib and the Shia. The truth is with Ali Muhammad. And he will mention the name of Imam al-Mahdi. Who will disbelieve now? Everyone should believe. This is a clear miracle that each and every human being will witness. Something extraordinary that's happening in the sky. And each and every human being will witness it. Even those who are asleep, they're going to wake up and hear it and understand it. So it's not just other people telling me about it. Each and every person will witness it. The Imam Salamullahi alayhi, he said, Iblis will not leave them. In the beginning of the day, Jibreel will call. At the end of the day, Iblis will call, and his call will be opposite to the call of Jibreel alayhi salam. So when Iblis will have or make his call, people will start doubting. Okay, we hear two calls. One is for, one is against. And the doubts and misconceptions will happen. So another cry will happen at the end of the day. And it is Satan who is calling. And his call will be exactly the opposite of the call of Jibreel. Now those who read the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt and who follow the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt, they will know that this is the sign. Because they know in the narrations that Jibreel will call in the beginning, then Iblis will call at the end. And we know that this is the sign, one of the definite signs of the reappearance of the Imam. The fifth and final definite sign of the reappearance of the Imam, and this is the closest sign to the reappearance of Imam Al-Hujjah Ajallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. The قتل النفس الزكية, the killing or the assassination of the pure soul. Who is النفس الزكية? Who is the pure soul? He is a Hassani Sayyid, a Sayyid who is from the descendants of Imam al-Hassan alayhi afdal salati wassalam. He will be murdered in the holy city of Mecca. Not just in the holy city of Mecca, in Masjid al-Haram. And not just anywhere in Masjid al-Haram, but beside the Kaaba. In the hadith it says, بَيْنَ الرُّكْنِ وَالْمَقَامِ, so close to the Kaaba. He will be murdered over there, so close to the Kaaba. In al-Masjid al-Haram, in the holy city of Mecca. In some narrations, it states that he will be martyred on the 25th of Dhul Hijjah. This is when he will be martyred. The 25th of Dhul Hijjah, right beside the Kaaba, a Hassani Sayyid, a Sayyid from the descendants of Imam Al-Hassan alayhi salam. He is a Nafs Zakiyah, a pure soul. He will be killed right beside the Kaaba. And this is the closest sign to the reappearance of the Imam. In the hadith, it is said that he will be martyred 15 days before the reappearance of Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Now do the math, 25 Dhul Hijjah plus 15, meaning the Imam will appear in which day? The 10th of Muharram. The day of Ashura is the day in which our Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, he will reappear. The day in which Imam Abi Abdullah al-Hussein was martyred. This is one our Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, he will reappear 15 days after the killing of the pure soul and Nafsul Zakiyah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to be of those who are steadfast on the religion of Islam, to be amongst those who are true followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi afdal salati wassalam. O Allah, make us amongst those who are from the true servants and helpers and supporters of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, Ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. O Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. Relieve him from all his worries. Instill happiness in his heart. Protect him, Ya Allah, and grant us the tawfiq to be amongst his sincere supporters, helpers, and servants. بحق محمد وآل محمد والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أحسن الله عليكم. As we are in the nights of the month of Ramadan, it is only appropriate to remember our deceased community members, our deceased mu'mineen and mu'minat. So let us recite Surah Al-Fatiha and gift it to all the marhumin of all the mu'mineen and mu'minat. Before it, aloud salawat. So, is there any questions, any comments, any feedback? Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. I am more than happy to address them. And we are blessed with the presence of Sheikh, who will also be more than happy to address, inshallah, any of your questions or comments or concerns, inshallah. Yes. In your case, we said everyone will hear it and understand it in their own language. So all of us will hear it. Even those who are asleep, they will wake up for that cry. In some narrations it said those who are sitting, they will stand. Those who are stand, they will sit. So even it will be a cry that will shake the universe, basically. Not just a cry that is normal. And imagine what kind of cry is it that each and everyone will understand it in their own language. And it is a clear cry. The name of the Imam is mentioned. ألا إن الحق في علي بن أبي طالب وشيعته ألا إن الحق في آل محمد. Clear. The truth is with Ali ibn Abi Talib and the Shia. The truth is in Ali Muhammad. And the name of the Imam, Imam al-Hujjah Ajallah Ta'ala Faraja, his name will also be mentioned. So a cry that is great. And again, we said the sign is extraordinary for a reason. Because the event that's going to happen is extraordinary. The sign is going to catch the attention of everyone. That's the whole point of it. To tell you that there is something extraordinary and something of utmost importance that's going to happen. And is there something that's more important than the reappearance of the Imam? Ajallah Ta'ala Farajah Sharif. Where he will fill this earth with justice and equity, just as it is filled now with injustice and oppression. So, yes, you will hear it, everyone will hear it, and each and everyone will understand it in their own language. So no one will have the excuse that we did not know what's going on. The hujjah will be there on everyone. The proof will be there on everyone. Yes, Habibi. Is there something new that happened in the past 1 hour? Most Most likely, I don't know. Until now, there is no sighting. We're just waiting for the finalization. If there's any verified reports, if one does not hear of any verified report, then the obligation is to intend fasting for the 30th of the month of Ramadan. One cannot break his fast if he is not certain that there is a verified sighting. So it is important to wait for that sighting. And if one is worried, no need to worry. You intend to fast the next day. If you got the news that there is a verified sighting and you were satisfied with that news, it's a trusted source, then you can break your fast. If not, وَإِذَا غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَأَتِمُّوا. The Prophet said, if you did not get the news, if it's cloudy, for example, you weren't able to see the moon, then continue. Actually, I am surprised at many of us that we want to have Eid tomorrow. Why would we want to have Eid tomorrow? We are the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this holy month. You are a guest. Who is your host? Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The most compassionate, the most merciful, the most kind. You are getting all kinds of divine blessings and mercies. Why do you want to get out? Why do you want to leave this month? Shouldn't we want to actually prolong this month so that we remain the guests of Allah for a longer period? Why do we want to leave it? أنفاسكم فيه تسبيح. You're breathing in this month. You're getting the thawab of glorifying Allah. Where would you get that in any other month? نومكم فيه عبادة. Your sleep is worship. You go sleep for 8 hours and you're getting thawab for that. Where would you get that in any other month? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is blessing us left and right, here and there, and we just want to leave this month. This is something that's important to keep in mind. So yes, it is wajib upon us or we have to see when the new moon will start, because we're not allowed to fast the day of Eid. But if Eid is not verified, we should be happy, because we will have one extra day. We will be blessed to have one extra day, and we are the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One extra day where each ayah you will recite, you get the thawab of recitation of the whole Quran. One extra day where each amal you would do, the thawab of your amal will be multiplied God knows how many times. One extra day where your anfas, your breathing, is considered a glorification and tasbih. One extra day where your sleep is considered an ibadah. One extra day that you'll get a chance that you will be forgiven and you will be amongst those who are free from hellfire. Again, ash-shaqi, the true loser, is the one who does not gain repentance of Allah in this holy month. So we still have one extra day to gain Allah's repentance and forgiveness. So it is actually a blessing if Eid is actually on Saturday. Again, we're waiting for the reports, but if there is no verified sighting, then the obligation is to intend fasting. Simple as that. Yes. Sure, any question. Yes. Up to you. If is there verified sightings? Again, if there is a verified sighting, then it will be tomorrow. If there is no verified sighting, then it will be after tomorrow. We will keep you updated, inshallah. If anything comes up, we will keep you updated. But just reflect upon these points. That should we be happy when this month ends, or should we actually be sad that we have lost the opportunity? Or the opportunity, inshallah, we didn't lose it, we gained it, inshallah. But the opportunity has passed. We have to wait for one more year to get that blessing again, to be a guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How long do we stop? Here in Windsor we've stopped. We're just waiting for news from other cities. So it just takes some time. we don't have Eid. We haven't seen the moon. We don't, if there is no sighting, there is no Eid. There is no specific time till we get verified sighting. In Windsor, no one saw it. In many cities that are surrounding us, no one saw it. In many cities of the East Coast, no one saw it. Now, we're waiting. Let's just wait for some time till we see. If there is a verified sighting, then tomorrow we will be celebrating Eid and we'll be offering Eid prayer. If there is no verified sighting, then we will fast tomorrow, inshallah, and we will have Eid prayers and Eid, celebrate Eid on Saturday, inshallah. So, let's be patient till we figure it out. Yes. If there is no sighting, we will have a program tomorrow, inshallah, and Eid will be on Saturday. Yes, Shaykhna, sahih. We will have a program tomorrow if there is no sighting. Yes, if there is no sighting, then we will have a program tomorrow, and Eid celebration will be Saturday. If there is sighting, then tonight will be our last night together here in the month of Ramadan. Yes. Again, remember we said that the view of Sayyid Sistani with regards to Hilal is different from other views. His view is with regards to the characteristics of the moon. The moon cannot be sighted in all of these areas. But it is possible to be sighted in our areas. So for Iraq, Iran, the Middle East, many areas of Europe, maybe even all of Europe, yes, they'll have Eid, not tomorrow for sure. But for us, there is a possibility of sighting it. That's why we're waiting. The reason why we're waiting is because there is a possibility. Possibility does not mean for sure. Possibility means we will search and see. If we get a verified sighting, news will come out, inshallah. The news will be posted on the youth club's Facebook, Instagram, the foundation's Facebook, Instagram. You'll get a message from the sheikh, and so on. If there is no sighting, you'll also be informed there is no sighting. Eid will be on Saturday. Simple as that. Yes. The question of with regards to Surah Abasa wa Tawalla, he frowned and he turned his face away. There is a man a Muslim man by the name of Abdullah ibn Maktoum. He came once, and he was a blind person. He came once and entered upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he was preaching to a number of the elites of Quraysh, a number of the first class of Quraysh tribes, yani the elites of Quraysh, basically the leaders of Quraysh. When he entered, someone frowned and turned his face away. Who is that person who frowned and turned his face away? The question is, who is the one? We believe that it was a person from Bani Umayyah, Uthman ibn Affan. He is the one who frowned and turned his face away. Why can't it be Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Because it contradicts the Quran. What did Allah say about Rasulullah? وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And you are of the highest. Your morals are of the greatest. Help me with the translation. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Your morals are sublime. You conform yourself to lofty morals, to sublime morals, to the greatest of morals. Now tell me, does that act work with this ayah? The Quran clearly says you have the greatest of morals. Then how can someone claim that Rasulullah is the one who did it? So it's not Rasulullah for sure, because it contradicts the Quran itself. So we believe it's not Rasulullah. Rasulullah would not do something like that. Rasulullah is a mercy to the worlds. Rasulullah is known for his kindness, is known for his akhlaq, is known for his great morals. So unfortunately, again, Rasulullah is madlum. He's oppressed, unfortunately. Yes. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. I think Surah Al-Qalam. Surah Al-Qalam. Because we mentioned this ayah, let me share with you a story. One day, a Jewish man came to the holy city of Medina during the rulership of Umar ibn al-Khattab. He came and asked him one question. Describe the morals of your prophet. Umar said, go ask Bilal, he is more knowledgeable in this than me. Bilal referred him to Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra salamullahi alayha. Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra salamullahi alayha referred him to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So that man said to him, Sifli akhlaq nabiyikum. Describe the morals of your prophet. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, Sifli mata' ad-dunya, asif lak akhlaq nabiyina. Describe the pleasures and the comforts of this world, and then I will describe the morals of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The man thought to himself, he said, it's hard to describe all the pleasures and all the comforts of this world. There are so many. I cannot describe them all in just this conversation, this meeting that we're having. Amir al-Mu'mineen said, عجزت عن وصف متاع الدنيا وقد شهد الله على قلته. Allah said, قل متاع الدنيا قليل. The pleasures of this world, they're just little. The comforts of this world, they're little. You were not able to describe the pleasures of this world, and Allah said they're little. How do you expect me to describe the morals of the Prophet? And Allah subhanahu wa shahid Allah bi'azamatih. Allah has said that his morals are great. And greatness and gloriousness becomes even greater when the one who is describing, the one who is calling it great, the greatest. So the akhlaq of the Prophet are beyond words. I cannot describe it in any words. So when we face a situation like this or that, it clearly shows that they are against the teachings of the Quran, against the teachings of Allah. Yes. Sorry, by the way, this story is from Tafsir al-Razi, not a Shia source, a Sunni source. Cursing? Cursing is in the Quran. وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّاعِنُونَ. In many ayat it says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curses. The malaika curse and the people will curse. Those who are against Allah and His Prophet. Those who are against Those who are against Allah and the Prophet, they are ones who are cursed by Allah, by the angels, and by the people. So there are people who curse. There are a number of ayat that mention this fact. Also, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam cursed a number of people. لعن الله الراشي والمرتشي. May Allah curse the one who bribes and the one who receives the bribe. لعن الله من تخلف عن جيش أسامة. May Allah curse the ones who do not go into the army of Usama. Towards the end of the Prophet's life, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam commanded the army to head to Rome, and he made a leader, a young leader by the name of Usama ibn Zayd. Many people were not happy. They're like, why did you put a young commander over the army? The Prophet said, لَعَنَ اللَّهَ مَنْ تَخَلَّفَ عَنْ جَيْشِ Usama. Whoever does not go with the army of Usama under the command and under the leadership of Usama is cursed by the Prophet. The Prophet cursed. آية المباهلة. فمن حاجك فيه من بعد ما جاءك من العلم فقل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم ونساءنا ونساءكم وأنفسنا وأنفسكم فنجعل لعنة الله على الكافرين. Let us call upon our sons and your sons, and our woman and your woman, and ourselves and yourselves. Then we do mubahala. What is mubahala? We pray to Allah to send His curse upon the liar. The Prophet ﷺ, this is the incident of mubahala when the Christians of Najran came. Najran is a city, is an area that is in southern Saudi Arabia of today, northern Yemen, long time ago. Well, southern Saudi Arabia or northern Yemen, around there. They were Christians. They came, a few priests came to the city of Medina. They were welcomed by the Prophet into the mosque of Medina. They had debates. They weren't convinced. The Prophet provided them proof after proof after proof after proof. They weren't convinced. At the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this verse. So the Prophet said, okay, let's do mubahal. If you believe that you're on the truth, let's go and pray to Allah to send His curse upon the liars. Whoever from the two sides is a liar, Allah's curse will come down on him. And then it will be clear to everyone who is on the side of the truth. So, the Christians of Najran, all of them came together. All their women, all their children, all the priests, all the people, all the men, they all came. And they were waiting for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Who did Rasulullah take with him? All the Muslims? نساءنا ونساءكم. He took Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha. أبناءنا وأبناءكم. He took Hassan and Hussein. أنفسنا وأنفسكم. He took Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So he only took, and well, Rasulullah himself were there. So the five greatest of Allah's beings were there. When the Christians of Najran saw the illuminated, shining faces of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the greatest monk of them said that I see faces that if they pray to Allah to move these mountains, and that mountain will be over our head, their prayers will be accepted. So don't let the mubahala happen. So they ran to the Prophet asking him to stop the mubahala. So the Prophet, he participated in what is called mubahala, mula'ana, to send Allah's curse upon the liars. So cursing is not insulting. There is a misconception. Cursing is a prayer. What is that prayer? You're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take that specific person out of His mercy. That, oh Allah, don't let your mercy reach that person. It's a prayer. Insulting is foul language. La'an is not sab. Amir al-Mu'mineen said to his army, إِنِّي أَكْرَهُ لَكُمْ أَن تَكُونَ سَبَّابِينَ. I hate for you to be of those who use foul language, insult. But la'an is something that is in the Quran and in the Sunnah. And we said we follow the Sunnah of the Prophet. Every word, every action, every confirmation of the Prophet, we follow it. And we follow the Quran. Every ayah in the Quran, we also follow it. That's why la'an is not something that is wrong. It is a prayer. No more than that. Yes. Because you're praying. Do you get bad deeds when you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It's a prayer. Yes. No, very good. No, no. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.